question to make. This time we would ask that the Honorable Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I believe is still here, of course, he is, Your Honor, I think we all know, an icon in the civil rights movement. He, not just a witness to it, he is the personification of it. And in other circumstances, I think everybody would be happy to have their picture taken, maybe get an autograph. But in the context of this trial, we object to his presence in the public gallery inside the courtroom. We note that there is a jury assembly room capable of holding, depending on how we socially distance, several hundred people, where these proceedings are being televised live in real time. The issue that Ray brought up previously is how many pastors does the Arbery family have? We had the Reverend Al Sharpton here earlier, last week, and I'm not keeping track, and I think the court has indicated the court doesn't intend to ask anyone to keep track of who was in the gallery. But I don't know who Mr. Jackson, Reverend Jackson, is pastoring here. My understanding is, and I was given names, that the Arbery family have local pastors. They also have attorneys. Mr. Arbery, Marcus, has a team of lawyers to comfort him through these proceedings. Certainly, Ms. Cooper has been amply comforted by her legal counsel. And we are concerned about whether it's conscious or unconscious, the impact of their presence with respect to the jury and with respect to the proceedings in this case. And I guess the next question is, which pastor is next? Is Raphael Warnock going to be the next person appearing this afternoon? We don't know. Your Honor, I would submit, with all respect to the Reverend Jesse Jackson, that this is no different than bringing in police officers or uniformed prison guards in a small town where a young black man has been accused of assaulting a law enforcement officer or corrections officer. And as I have noted before, the city of Brunswick is indeed a fishbowl. Your Honor, I understand that the court, maybe I misunderstood the court the other day, but I think the court had indicated it was the court's understanding or assumption that the Arbery family is giving up seats in the public gallery so that these gentlemen may be present. With all due respect, Your Honor, the seats in the public gallery of a courtroom are not like courtside seats at a Lakers game. There are no First Amendment rights in the public gallery of a courtroom. There is no standing of any particular individual to be present in the public gallery of a courtroom. And there is no reason for these prominent icons in the civil rights movement to be here. This is a case that has been postured in the media, I believe, by Marcus Arbery's attorney, Benjamin Crump, if not Lee Merritt, and certainly reported by the media as a quote-unquote test case for where the civil rights movement is in 2021. So with all due respect, I would suggest, whether it's intended or not, that inevitably a juror is going to be influenced by their presence in this courtroom. And while there seems to be some argument over how much the jurors can see, and I can certainly supplement the record, but I took pictures last week, and it is very clear that most of the jurors have a complete unobstructed view of the entire gallery. And again, we are concerned about our client's right to have a fair trial and the impact of the presence of these individuals is going to have on this case. And we are asking the court, and again, with all respect to the Honorable Reverend Jesse Jackson, that he be observing these proceedings from the jury assembly room where they are being streamed live, rather than sitting here in the courtroom where he can visually interact with the jurors in this case.
Anything from the remaining defendants?
Leon?
No. Anything from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Goff, at this point, I'm not exactly sure what you're doing. I have already ruled on this court's position with regard to the gallery. And with all candor, I was not even aware that Reverend Jackson was in the courtroom until you started your motion. I have indicated the court's position court's position hasn't changed. At this point, it's almost as if you're just trying to continue this for purposes other than just bringing it to the court's attention. And I find that objectionable from the court standpoint. I have said over and over and over in this trial that I am attempting to ensure that in this courtroom that the defendants receive a fair trial, and I will continue to do that. I have heard the objection. I have ruled previously on my position with regard to the gallery, and that is unchanged.
And I'm not questioning the court's ruling, but the court,
I'm done talking about it, Mr. Goff. I've heard the motion. I understand what your position is, and if it's simply just to point out that an individual is in the gallery, it has been done.
do I understand that I'm not to do that again?
I'm telling you that the court's position has remained the court's position, and unless anyone in the gallery is disruptive or here to cause some demonstration that will distract from the presentation of evidence in this case, the court is not going to single out any particular individual or group of individual as not being allowed to be in this courtroom as a member of the public. That is consistent with my prior ruling and will remain the ruling of the court. If there's a disruption, you're more than welcome to call that to my attention. If there's a problem, call that to my attention. But on this particular issue that you brought up previously, which has now been effectively renewed, I think I've been very clear we do not need to discuss it any further.
And I've been very clear of my desire to make a record. And thank you, Your Honor.
Is the state ready to proceed?